Okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to try to talk fast because I know I don't. All right. There that says, this was 3 years ago. But, for whatever reason, YouTube is not choosing to show the published dates on my videos when they play. Yep. Alright, so what I'm going to do is before this channel gets deleted, I'm going to record this. Because if anybody has any eyes to see and they want to know, this, and if this video just doesn't convince you, it was published on the 8th of November 2017. So I'm going to show you that anything you click on has a date. Look, this was 11 years ago. This happens to be Bill Gates because this is what they're pushing. Oh, you saw that right there. It said it was November the 8th, February 2010. But for whatever reason, when I click on my videos, there's no date. There's no date. Anything else you click on? Let's click on this. August 25th, 2020. So why do you suppose that they don't want it seen when my videos were originally posted? Because you see a video about vaccines and they take, and it's something prophetic, then they take the date off so no one can see. Look at that, all my videos. See if they did it to this. Oh, goodness. I do not want this. Thank you. No dates. No dates. But this Buddy Hackett's duck joke, he's got a date. And it's got nothing to do with the length of the title. Okay, Rodney Dangerfield, he makes Johnny Carson fall out of his chair. That gets a date. Nothing that God showed me before it happened. People cannot see the date. But one thing you can do is look in the comments and see that it was recorded. You can look at the comments and see how old the comments are, if there's comments. So I'm going to click on one more just to show you. This was 4 years ago. Floods of deceptions and damnable heresies, that's for sure. What you see on there, absolutely no dates. No dates. So anyway, to the point of what I'm trying to do here is this video. Okay, let me turn it up.
Wednesday, 8th of November, 2017. I want to share with you a dream that I had about...
I'm just going to start it over.
Hello guys, my name is Beverly. Today is, I think it's the 8th of November. Yes, it is Wednesday. Wednesday, 8th of November, 2017.
I'm
going to share with you a dream that I had about vaccines. And I have a long history of being weary of vaccines. And it started many years ago, right around the time when I first came to Christ. I had a dream that I was in a waiting room, a doctor's office, some sort of a doctor's office or a clinic, and that the room was full of people sitting in chairs, older people, and like middle-aged people, whatnot, sitting in chairs, and I was sitting there too, and everybody was waiting on something to get shots, vaccines, and I knew it was a flu shot, and for some reason, I knew something that was bad, and I didn't want it, and I just knew that this was very bad. I knew that it was being forced upon us, and it was for something sinister. It was deadly. So at that time, that dream was strong enough that it had me where I didn't want any flu shots, just on the strength of that dream. Like, if you had a bad dream about falling off a cliff, not even falling off a cliff, something seemingly more harmless, like going down a water slide, then if soon you find yourself at the top of a water slide, then you're automatically going to think about that dream. So shortly after I had this dream, then flu vaccines began to have an evolution. Whereas I pretty much, not always, but pretty much, you've always heard of vaccines, but they were always mentioned with elderly people, people over the age of 65, who had risk factors that made the flu something that would cause more serious sickness in those particular people. So for that reason, you would hear on the news, oh, it's flu season. They give a bunch of ridiculous statistics, and then they say, doctors are recommending, or the CDC or whoever is recommending flu shots for this specific high-risk group. Old people. Just like in my dream, old people. So now, I had that dream, and then things began to change. It's no longer just them saying, older people, may not be able to bounce back from the flu, it could be dangerous. So many old people actually die from the flu because they're already sick or impaired, and their bodies just didn't recover from getting the flu. Okay, like the story. Maybe, perhaps we could buy that. But like I said, over time, things did change. Now, not now, but over time, they started saying, healthcare workers need to get the flu shot. Daycare workers need to get the flu shot. Then it went from, pregnant women were always very protected. Don't do this, don't do that, I'm pregnant. And you didn't have to get the flu shot if you're pregnant. It wasn't recommended. But now, it's safe. Matter of fact, you need to get the flu shot. Now you're one of the high-risk groups that need to get the flu shot. Well, they weren't giving little kids because, their little kids are delicate systems and immune systems. But no, now kids are one of those high-risk groups that really need to get the flu shot. Oh, heaven forbid, someone should get the flu. It's the flu, people. It's the flu. They have whole articles, shows, and segments on TV programs that have to even help people distinguish. People ask the question, do I have the cold or is it the flu? So basically, it's a glorified cold. It's a cold. And they have developed this billion-dollar industry around a cold with a fever. You'll be sick a couple days, and you'll be all right. And your immune system, which God designed so wonderfully, will have learned something from that illness that will protect you in the future. So, this is the reason why my antenna were always up about the flu, because God warned me long before this got to be such a ridiculous fever pitch to where healthcare people can actually be fired from their job. Healthcare workers can be fired from their jobs if they don't take the flu shot. It used to be, we're offering you the flu shot. This is me telling you about this evolution of the flu shot, going from old people to everybody. And they're going to start doing it more than once a year. So, we're going to offer you the flu shot. Isn't that nice? Don't you want it? Then it was, you need to take the flu shot. Why don't y'all go ahead and take the flu shot? Then it was, what's wrong with you? Why won't you take the flu shot? Are you trying to make everybody sick? Then it was, you're so reckless and dangerous, you can't even work here. You're endangering people. If the flu is so dangerous and it's spread by close contact with other people, why would we just live in close contact with other people? Why would we just stay home and not send your kids to daycare? Anybody ever had a kid that they sent to daycare and that kid has never been so sick so much in their life? Because we pass things like this. People going to workplaces. And many of the jobs that people occupy these days are a wasted piece of human dignity, intelligence, and the creation of God. I'm going to give you an example. There's a place, I'm not going to name it, but we'll call it Pet Kingdom. And this is Pet Kingdom, where people send their dogs to be boarded in luxury conditions with televisions, beds, like beds shaped like human beds, get steak dinners, chicken dinners. This is an industry. You can do what you want to do, but there are many other more noble ways to apply the gifts and talents given to men by our Creator than a human being pampering an animal, a dog, someone else's dog. We have sunk pretty low. Many other useless professions. So, most people and most of the jobs that we're doing don't even need to be done. The things that pertain to life, people should have a plot of land, a home that they can build at a reasonable price, that it doesn't take them 30 years to pay off, and then they never own it because the county keeps sending them a bill every 6 months for taxes, and they will put you out of that house. But if people actually have the right to own property, and we're employed in being part of a family, being a unit that actually lives together, and they live got life. Instead of rushing home at 6 o'clock in the evening and they already ate on the way home, kids already ate, it's some junk that we eat. It's just in time for everybody to be piled up with homework. Even parents are going back to work or going back to school. Just they occupy us with nonsense 24/7. And then when you do have your weekend, everybody's off to this activity, that activity, this activity, that activity. And then we start the whole week over again to earn enough money to support this foolish lifestyle over again. And like I said, everybody should have the right to have property. The right to have a garden where you can actually grow some food that would be fit for human consumption. Maybe have some chickens, maybe a lamb. Maybe your neighbor down the way has lamb or grows meat, raises cattle, locally raised, where you know what's happening to it. That it's, you know where I'm going with that. And then the mother can attend to her responsibility that she's actually going to answer God for. Not how you fed chicken to someone else's dog and changed his channel on his personal television in his pet kingdom, the kennel. But what you're actually going to answer for, which is, did you raise a godly seed? Did you take your responsibility as a procreator seriously and actually raise and pour yourself into those human souls that you brought into the world by your own will? These souls that have to spend eternity somewhere that didn't call you up and ask to be here. So you need to raise them in a way that they can inherit eternal life. Teach them the ways of God. Don't allow them to be corrupted by the world by sending them off to daycare where they learn wild, crazy behavior from wild, crazy children. And goofy elementary school teachers who have been made goofy by their miseducation. When I was in elementary school, our teachers had a paddle or a ruler, and they would slap your hand with it, and it would correct your foolish behavior. Not so much because it hurts so badly, but because you're embarrassed, you're called out, and you're held accountable for what you did. But no such common sense like that exists anymore. No. Johnny, would you like to come and join the rest of the class with the lesson? No? Okay, well, you go back in the back and you can jump on the trampoline. These things actually go on. I'm telling you something that actually happened in the classroom with a relative of mine. So, society is absolutely upside down, backwards, ridiculous. So I was forewarned a long time ago, that something shady and dangerous would be going on with these innocent singing vaccines. And sure enough, it's come to pass. Now you can't work in the hospital. It used to be, if you had direct patient care, they were recommending this. Now, you don't even have to go anywhere near a patient. You can work in an office, in a building that's not even connected to the hospital, and they still want to force you to get a flu shot. They want to force all the hospitals to buy all these flu shots and give them to their employees. And I also want you to know that there are a lot of incentives given to these hospitals or punishments, depending on whether or not they are able to keep up with the recommended numbers. So this is why they have gone to these hardball tactics to get people to take their flu shot. Not because any of these people actually believe the flu is dangerous. This thing is coming from someplace way higher up. And I also want you to know that the rates of Alzheimer's and also autism are all in line with the period of time where flu shots started to be recommended. And also the great explosion in the number of vaccines that children are receiving now as compared to when I was a child and when the children that I was involved with raising were children. It's just gone up in a ridiculous fashion. There's the opportunity to put anything at all inside these vaccines. Anything. I just had a dream about that the elite or the powers were having an all-out assault on human beings to kill them, not in subtle ways, but to just slaughter them without mercy and really with very little regard to whether or not it would be known that that's what they were doing. I think part of that is because there's nothing to do about it anyway. And the other part, the bigger part probably, is that no one believes it. No one believes it. Everyone trusts the government. Everyone trusts pharmaceutical companies. And it's not that your average doctor is so wicked. It's just that he does what he's told. He receives recommendations from the board that certified him. First they become a doctor and then they become certified by a board in their specialty. And maintaining that certification means that they follow the prescribed elements of their certification. They recommend this at a certain time, they recommend that. They don't have time to go and do research as to whether these things are the best for their patients. They're like you, they're trusting the things that are coming down. And what's coming down is that Satan is the God of this world. He controls the kingdoms of men and he gives it to whoever he wants. He said that. He said that to Jesus. That's recorded in the Bible. He said, these things are delivered unto me, and I can give them to whoever I want. So he puts people in charge. He gives them power, puts them in positions that are going to carry out his agendas. And his agenda is he hates man. He wants to destroy man. He wants to ruin God's creation. And he's done a really good job. But what he will not prevail against is the true church of God, the body of Christ. Okay. Now, that's not even the recent dream that I had about vaccines. That's a dream a long time ago that had me just like, if I heard the word vaccine, I'm like, that's me, the flu shot. So I always would decline the flu shot. Then, like I said, the pressure was cranked up, and the process for declining the flu shot became so inconvenient and cumbersome and threatening that it just became easier to take the flu shot. So I, took a couple flu shots because it was much easier than the red tape that they had going. So I prayed before I get the flu shot, like, Lord, don't let this harm me. And, if they drink anything deadly, it shall not hurt them. But I really believe the best policy is to not take the flu shot, because the same steadfastness that you're going to have to resist the mark of the beast is the same process that they're going to go through with the flu shot. Now they have it where you're dangerous. First it was, okay, sick people. You can understand that in the hospital. This is what most people would say, okay, you're in the hospital, people are already sick. One of the first things they do when you get admitted to the hospital is you get a flu shot. You get an influenza vaccine. Not just high-risk groups, anybody. You get one. It is ordered as a package. The doctor does not even have to specifically order it. It is put in with the protocol orders that automatically go through. As soon as they put in the order, it makes patients to the hospital. Flu vaccine comes with that. And the only way you don't get it is if you were previously admitted recently within a certain time frame, then you won't get another one. So, So here's this recent dream that I had about vaccines. Oh, also, long time ago. This is probably 12 years ago, 15 years ago maybe. I was in nursing school. And I had a dream that I knew was very significant. In this dream, a head nurse, very wicked, she had a case in her hand. I'm going to show you something the case looked like. Something like this. It looked something like this in this dream, of this size. And it opened up, not like this one does, but it opened up like that. And inside of it was a hypodermic syringe. And that syringe was obviously very special. It was made out of metal, and it was like very special. And it had something bad in it, very bad. It was as if it was the mark of the beast. This thing, if you took it, it was you making a choice. It was you making a decision between life and damnation. Because if you chose to receive this thing, take the shot, then you would live. They would stop messing with you on a certain level. You had to take it, or they would just harass you. Or you couldn't be there, something bad would happen. But if you did take it, there was no going back. It was a shock. So I'm standing there making this decision. She wasn't really asking me at that time to take it, but I knew it was coming. So she opened it up. And that's what happened in that dream. And ever since then, I knew there would come a point in time in my nursing career where I would have to make a decision. In order to continue in this profession, you will have to take this mark. You will have to receive this shot. You will have to make this choice. And this choice is not compatible with God. It's either God or this. So, for those two dreams, I never trusted medicine. Never. Even though it was my profession, and even though caring for sick people is very noble thing, as long as you don't do harmful things to them. And you know it. Alright. So this is the dream I had on September 6, 2017. Okay. A dream about vaccines, like they were just everywhere and taken for granted. They were very evil and large. I saw a huge automated assembly line and bottles passing on it. The fourth or the sixth was continuously emphasized. It was bigger. It was the fourth. There was a way they were overlaying the scene as if they were being shown to be the big plot of the system happening then. So it was the fourth. The fourth was continually being emphasized, and it was bigger. Now, what does that mean? We'll have to wait and see. I do not know about the fourth. Okay. I saw where I had a choice not to be a part of this, and this would spare some people because I would not vaccinate them. I was in a city like Chicago, on business at night, where these shops were open very late, like almost to midnight, and it also seemed like Minneapolis. Okay? There was danger of opposition. There was danger or opposition. And, that's basically it. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened in that dream. So I went to speak out against vaccines. I am a nurse. There is something wrong with the way they are pushing vaccines. It is not from a point of view of medical necessity. It is not from a point of view of keeping the public safe. It is coming from way higher up. And I'm not telling you this from my knowledge so much as a nurse. I'm telling you this from God. There was another dream that I had. This was recently. That the end of this point of it was they are literally just slaughtering us. Did you know that there's a similar increase in the rates of Alzheimer's as there is in the rates of autism? And both are forms of brain damage. There is nothing natural.
Okay. So I want to just keep this as short as possible. May 9th, 2021. And somehow I'm going to show you the date for this one. Because when I click off of it, then suddenly the date shows up. So watch it quickly, it'll flash. See? November 8th, 2017. Are you still interested
in a solar-powered generator? Because pay special attention, because I'm going to...
Okay. So that's the end of it. I don't want to see that mess. Alright, so for some reason, not for some reason, for obvious reasons, YouTube, you see this video, the date that it was made is clearly there. And on any video that you look over here and go to. I don't care how many years ago it was. Look, 4 years ago. I'm turning the sound down because I don't want to hear these. These are the people who have been paid to... These are the people that are being paid to distract you. 7 million views, nine years ago. You have a date. These people, you know who these people are. Their hands. The Bible says they speak with their hands. Now, there's no dates on these either. So anyway. For some reason, that other guy didn't have dates on his videos either. So let's just look at some random type videos. Oh, this is horrible. See if this one has a date on it. Nope, no date. Which is unfortunate. And there's no way to find it. It just doesn't show. Sad. All the rest of all this stuff, all the foolishness, that doesn't have a date. Let's see. Alright, that's enough. I don't want this to be too long. Get ready to get out of here too. Alright, God bless. Okay. So, quick explanation of what that just was. I'm actually holding up the iPad to the webcam on the computer because on May the 9th of 2021, I used this iPad to hold up to a computer screen to record a portion of that video that I just played. And so that's the reason for the horrible camera work on top of horrible camera work. And hopefully the sound came through in some type of way. But with the technology that I have at this moment, I cannot get this video loaded up in any other way. It's too long to upload on my iPad because the iPad is from 2012 and it is pre-programmed with a 15-minute time limit, or it will not upload a video to YouTube because those were the rules back then. So it's preset. It will not upload anything longer than 15 minutes. So that's out. Apple products have something called AirDrop now, but in 2012 they didn't have AirDrop, so I don't know any way to get this video off of this iPad. It's incompatible with the newer computers. So when I hook it up to a USB, it doesn't recognize this device at all. It's just incompatible. So that's the best I can do for those that, really want to see. And, you're not tripping. You'll be willing to wade through the technical difficulties. So, of course, it's late. It's 4 a.m. And, of course, I'm tired. I really want to make another part to that Jezebel thing with the spirit of Antichrist, Judas, narcissism, all that. Because I really liked it. I really enjoyed fleshing all that out and getting a clearer understanding of it for myself and really diving into that dream to, because it's just becoming clearer and clearer to me why I think maybe, at least partially, why did the Lord choose to use me in this way with this Obama stuff? And it's because I know very well this spirit. I know this spirit as much as you can know it. Because in a way, you can just know what it's going to do and stuff like that. But you can't know it really because it doesn't make any sense. It's insanity. So you may not ever understand it, but you can just see what it is. And I hate it. I hate it so bad. It's such a terrible thing. It's just without any doubt, it's satanic. And I wish the people who operate in this spirit would just stop it. And I just like to caution everybody, don't ever operate out of that spirit. Don't ever seek to manipulate, control, violate anybody's personal rights, violate their free will. If somebody doesn't want to do something, don't try to manipulate them. Everybody has their own rights. Everybody even has the right to make mistakes. We cannot restrict people's free will. God doesn't do it, and we certainly cannot do it. It is literally a prison. It's probably as much of a prison as an actual physical prison. You have a captive, and Jesus came to set at liberty those that are captive. Even though for right now, we're still waiting on the fullness of it. Waiting on the fullness of the full freedom from evil. So if you know anybody in your life that's operating in this spirit, don't let that tempt you to operate in that spirit. We don't fight fire with fire. God is the all-consuming fire, and vengeance belongs to him, and he will recompense every deed. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. let the Lord handle it, and just endure. Just endure. And it's not long. It's not long. I personally still believe that the Lord will come back this year. And I not only believe, but I know by the scriptures that there's no such thing as left behind. When the Lord comes back, that's it. There's so much deception out here. Just flat out deception. Some people in error, and some people just flat out deceivers. And probably for the same reason, but Judas, who also had the spirit of Antichrist, he also was possessed of the same spirit. He's also called the son of perdition, along with the Antichrist. And Jesus said, it says in the Bible, it says in John, the 6th chapter, that Jesus, he said, have not I chosen you all? And I think he said, and one of you is a devil, talking about his 12 disciples. One of them was a devil. And then the narration says that the writer, John, the writer of the Gospel of John, says, for Jesus knew who it was that did not believe and who it was that would betray him. So there's the motivation for the betrayal of Christ, was unbelief. Unbelief is it's a huge sin. We must not entertain doubt of the scriptures, doubt of the spirit. And we have to just say that without apology. The fearful and the unbelieving they're going to have their part in the lake of fire. So don't entertain unbelief, and don't switch your beliefs. This gospel has stood for 2,000 years. And the same God of the gospel is the God of the whole book, the great I am. Amen. So that's all.